Yeah, something I think that every writer discovers what they want to do. Like, you have to get in touch with yourself. There's so many things you have to, people's notes and like.
This is a Helmut Lang suit. It is my Netflix rom-com Prince of a made-up country look. And this is an Artist for Ceasefire pin. And it's a small gesture, honestly, in the grand scheme of things. But it's something that, I really care deeply about. And listen, I'm just an actor on a red carpet right now. But if I can bring any sort of awareness to what's happening in Gaza right now, I think it's really important. And, it's literally the least I could do. So, yeah.
I keep saying how scared I am, and I think as I say it, I'm getting slightly less scared every time, so that's good. It's really crazy because it was my first audition and my first thing that I'd ever considered doing. I had never considered being an actor or even doing anything in the industry. So that by itself is okay, I found my thing. I found something that makes me happy, but also it's cool to see that there's validation for it as well. I think everybody likes that when that happens. But I'm also just really happy to see how many people have embraced the show and how popular it was, and it really seemed to speak to people. And to be the sort of vehicle for the story has been really crazy, and it's such a special way to connect with people.
I think the most exciting thing for me was that because The Changeling is such a powerful black story, I've never been stopped on the street by fans so much that are people that look like me, and that's honestly been the most special thing for me. I don't know that I think it is a trend right now. I think there's enough people of color, diverse people, queer people, everything behind the scenes at this point, making sure that it isn't a trend. But I would just say that just needs to continue. I think the doors opening for people behind the camera will be the most important thing, to make sure that when a show is being written or a movie is being written and greenlit, that the people that are making the decisions reflect the actual world that we're in. I think that's honestly the most important thing.
I think it's that she took my words and just kind of occupied them and just sort of made these choices that I didn't see coming, and really sort of her lived experience was just sort of imported into my words, and I'm deeply honored that she did it and thrilled that it's turning out so well for her, because she deserves it, as does Paul, as does Alexander, everybody does.
To be honest, when you're an actor like me, who a lot of people just don't know, you take what you're offered. But I never thought I'd be offered the opportunity to work on something like this at this level. Mental health is obviously extremely important, but what I love so much about Shrinking is the whole show is made up of scenes of the things you don't see, actually being in the session, where in other shows you see them after the session or maybe before the session. Here we're getting into the nitty-gritty, and I like how Bill is actually incorporating tools that he's learned from his personal experience in therapy and showing them, broadcasting them to all the fans of Lasso, all his fans. So it's nice to just kind of demonstrate what that would look like in our show.
Very honored for the awards and the recognition. But to me, I think that sort of a dream would be sort of on top of all that, something that would mean a lot to me, and is if this movie could serve it as an example for filmmakers who are coming behind me, who are trying to tell stories that are maybe a little left of center, a little different than people expect. Maybe this movie can serve as an example when it comes to the risk that executives are willing to take on, at the distribution companies, at the financiers, Maybe somebody can point to American Fiction and say, hey, we would have passed on that, and look, it's sort of found an audience. So maybe we can get some courage up and take on this new filmmaker who hasn't tried this before and maybe is too much of a risk. So if we can just crack the door open a little bit for people coming behind us, that to me would be the dream.